Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Movie Group, founder of the Dream Network channel. Learn more at dreamnetworkchannel.com.
I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make moves, call the shots like the boss. I wanna love like I never lost.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I am your host, Kathy Blaze. I'd like to welcome Mr. Tyrone Abercrombe. Hey there, welcome.
How you doing there?
Good.
Good.
Oh, look, I get hugs at my house. Good to see you.
Good.
So, Tyrone, you are a wrestler.
Yes, I am.
And what inspired you to get into wrestling?
Well, what inspired me to get into wrestling was pretty much what happened was being a little kid. The community I grew up, mostly, sport and stuff like that. Mainly like basketball, football, the typical stuff. I got into wrestling because of the fact that one of my cousins started wrestling, but also I had a dog, and my mother seen me constantly running and choking it out, so she figured, no, there's something you need to do with this kid. So she introduced me to the sport of wrestling, which gladly and helpfully changed my life and stuff like that. So that's how I got into the sport.
So you were choking a poor dog.
No, I didn't choke him. He actually bit me, so it wasn't that bad.
So it was your mom that got you into the sport of wrestling. How did that come about? Was there other members in the family that was wrestling? Or?
No, just like you said, my cousin was a wrestler, but he never extended his career as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly, however, like I said, pretty much just got into it and just like stayed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my success came for when I kind of graduated high school. That's when I realized what I was capable of doing.
Okay. So as a wrestler, and you consider yourself an amateur wrestler, and you use the term amateur because there's a separate as from the entertainment type wrestlers. So you call yourself an amateur wrestler. Am I correct?
Yes, that is. Not saying that so-called entertainer wrestlers do not get hurt. Mm-hmm. However, they rehearse. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the amateur level, you actually got to train. When you wrestle a match, you don't know what the outcome can be. You actually can get hurt. Entertainment-wise, if you follow it, there's certain clues they have to give when they're like going to jump or going to slam or they assist in a slam. In my sport, there's no assistance. You are actually wrestling on just pure will.
So with amateur wrestling, it's not staged. So you going in there with this opponent, and I mean you don't know what they're going to do. So nope. It's not for entertainment purposes.
It's not. No, it's not.
So you started doing this as a young person. What are some of the things you had to do to get prepared for this, to be a wrestler?
Well, one thing about amateur compared to entertaining is obviously we have what we call weight classes. Mm-hmm. So I've always wrestled in a heavier class, even as a young kid. I never wrestled in junior high because of my talent. I wrestled in high school. So New York, you're allowed to wrestle in high school in 7th grade. So 7th grade, I was wrestling 190.
Oh, okay.
Which is very rare that happens because most of your 7th graders that do come into that level is usually around 100 pounds, probably max 112 pounds.
So you were a big guy in 7th grade.
Yeah, I was. I wrestled junior high, and then I wrestled varsity as an 8th grader. So from then on, I wrestled varsity, like I said, for 5 years.
Okay. So, in our communities, and most young kids you're seeing nowadays, they either want to be in football or basketball. How did your mom talk you into getting into wrestling?
Well, she wouldn't necessarily didn't talk me into it. I mean, I come from a family that played those sports. We did play. I had kids family members that played the typical baseball, the football, the basketball. I just wanted to do something different. The sport, for me per se, and I explained to it as being a coach to other kids, is when you're wrestling, no, everyone gets to see what you do. Football, like which I played lacrosse as well. But football mainly is that sport where you make a tackle, everybody else take your credit. Whereas wrestling, you go on the mat, everyone get to see what you're doing. It's a sport where you can't hide. It's a big old circle, but however, everyone gets to see.
So you get
how
the
it's-
individual credit.
Yes, you do. And like once again, that's what's more drove me to go out more for the sport. I mean, I was great for football, but I just prefer wrestling better.
I see. So with wrestling, is there a favorite move that you have? I know a lot of wrestlers. I mean, look, I'm not the professional at it here. I know they have a certain move. Was there one that was a favorite for you?
Well, I was amateur wrestling, as you can see if you see the video. I have, well, it's two, but the main one is called a lateral drop, which is basically an over-under move. It's more when a guy is pushing you, you just throw. You actually go with the force instead of fighting against it. Go with it. Again, it's the thing with wrestling does, it helps out a lot with football because football is a lot of pushing, but it also teaches you how to like step aside instead of going against the force that you're dealing with.
What with wrestling, it's like you're in this circle. See, I want you to explain to us novice that don't know much about wrestling. What is the goal of the game of the?
Well, there's a term: 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. As in only one can become the champion. Everybody can't be a champion out there. But what's strange or what's funny about the sport is when you enter the circle, you can actually walk off, but for some reason there's something in you that just make you stay there. We've had opponents where they're getting dominated. Granted that you can say, well, why don't you guys just walk off the mat? They just sit there and they wrestle until the period's over. Usually go anywhere from, depends on your opponent. You can be out there from 6 to about going to overtime. Depends on how skilled the wrestlers are out there competing. Which is, again, there's a bunch of styles. With the amateur, you have what you call folk style, which is high school, college wrestling. You have freestyle, which is similar to collegiate and college, but you think you can lock your hands. You have Greco-Roman, which more of my favorite. That's all upper body. You can't touch legs.
Okay. So I like to ask this question. It's usually in the entertainment field that when mature talent, mature actors or entertainers get a certain age, they think that I can't do this, or I'm too old to act, or I'm too old to do this. What do you say to mature men that want to wrestle? They've always had a dream to wrestle. Now that they're at a certain age, they think they can't do it. What information? How could you inspire those people that want to get involved?
Well, here's the thing. Like a lot of sports, I mean, basketball is one of those sports you can kind of constantly go at a certain age. Football, you of course got taper off. Wrestling, you're broken down into classification. Like I wrestled the veterans, which was the older group of guys. My class was probably about 45 years old up to 55. So it's really depends on how your body can hold up, how much pain you can endure. But of course the time is cut down because of age difference. But however, the thing is that it's up to that individual what kind of goal they want to know what they have. My goal was to wrestle when I was 50 years old, which I did do. I'll be turning 51 this year, so I figured, what, my goal was like, what, let me get this one task out of my life, at least I can say I've done something.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling since the age of 9. So, and I've also been coaching since 95.
Okay, awesome. And when you said coaching, you've been here in Arizona coaching our young people on wrestling.
I did 15 years out in New York, and I did a majority of my years out here, which is now I've been 18 years. But my first year coming out here, I didn't coach. I started coaching, so I've been coaching for now 17 years. The high school I coached at Shadow Mountain, I've been there for now total coming up 16 years.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, your goal was to wrestle up until age 50.
Yes,
So you accomplished that.
I did. A couple weeks ago, well, I lost track of time. But yeah, I went out, took 2 national titles. One was in freestyle. Once again, that's a different style compared to which it was Greco, which was all upper body. So that right now topped off to be close to I would say about my 18th national title.
Okay. So you've won 18 titles. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, combined my college, from high school, combined with college, combined with my I guess say college career. Yeah, 18 national titles.
Wow, congratulations.
But total all in all, off the I would say probably about 25-time All-American.
Okay.
So, but the 18 national titles off to the side though.
So you've won about 25 titles. You met your goal at age 50.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is you're telling these mature men that they can do it.
Well, that is again it all depends on how your body holds
Well,
up.
hopefully they know that, okay?
know,
Hopefully they won't get out there and
yeah. Well, like I said, what inspired me was I had to my wrestlers that were going out to wrestle, and I told them, I says, you know what? I guess I would just do this with them since they were heading out. I decided I'd just get back on the mat one more time. That was it. So I'm actually officially done now.
So how was that for your wrestlers watching their coach out there on the mat instead of him up there yelling at them?
Well, I mean, they were impressed that I still kind of had it. Right now, they're still trying to ask if I was going to go do Worlds, which is in Greece. I have not decided if I want to do that. That take place around October.
Oh.
So the training part is not it's not the part that's stopping me. It's more if do I feel like sitting on an airplane or the time zone difference and stuff like that. That's more of my concern. Because as I age,
so that's the thing when you get old, you make those decisions. I don't know if I want to sit this long.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it is. Because it's not fun. I mean, when
Not
I was
that you
younger, I
can't
didn't
do
mind.
it.
Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't mind doing it. But now I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do it. I mean, I got people who push it like you should just go do it. But I mean, it's kind of questionable right now if I'm thinking about it. But it's not something permanent.
Okay, so the competition that you were in a few weeks ago was what got you to be placed to compete in Greece, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I know you brought some media from that competition, so we're going to take a look at it.
All right.
And you can tell us a little bit of what's going on.
So obviously right now, like you said, it's Greco. You notice we're not going to touch legs. It's almost just mainly you stand up. You don't. I mean, if you want to get into what you call in wrestling stance, you can, but it's mostly a lot of pushing. And the goal is you're trying to dig in, pushing out of bounds. Obviously, you get points for that. You just want to look at like you're trying to set up your opponent, which right there was my throw, and it was straight to a pin. It was under definitely a minute. So that was the finals right there. So I'm a new guy. I've wrestled. I never wrestled, so it was pretty impressive.
Awesome. So this is what. So was that your main move that you were talking about earlier?
That's one of my main moves.
That's the Tyrone move?
Yeah, I mean, it's Tyrone move, but yeah. It's one of my main moves.
That's one year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So, so other than not wanting to sit on a plane a long time, what would you, how would that accomplishment be for you and for your team and your kids to see that if you went over to Greece and you won over there? I mean,
well, I mean, the difference is that it'll just be a world title I've won as an older person. That's all. That since I'm my first world title to win. But obviously, by going over at this age, it would be my something just to kind of like they say a cherry on top.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay, we like cherries.
Well,
Cherries on top always makes it. So you are a coach in the community with I like to call them our peewees, the young, the little ones.
yeah.
tell us what that's like to work with these little ones. What are the age range from those children?
Well, the age range could be anywhere from kindergarten, so whatever kindergarten is,
Five.
to mainly just say top off probably sixth, seventh, eighth grade.
Oh,
Say sixth grade. No.
okay. So as young as 5-year-olds.
Yes, as long as they can pay attention, which is very rare.
I mean, lacking the attention span there.
Well, it's not just that because sometimes when you're showing moves and stuff, and you get down, they all jump on you thinking you're like some kind of pony or something, and try to ride your back or something like that. But
You're entertaining them.
yeah, I do. But I said it was a little donkey or something like that. They're riding on my back and stuff like that. But it's always fun. I mean, they do keep you young, but it's funny because when you're doing things like that with little kids, you're moving, but it's not until you cool down you realize I should never done that. Now I got all these creaks and all these aches and pains.
So, what at that age, when you said that attention span isn't there, what is it that you're hoping that they get out of that?
Well, the funny thing with kids is, they might not be paying attention, but however, when you put them in a situation, which is wrestling for now, they do things that you're like, wow, they actually did pay attention. It's just at the moment they're either talking, dancing with old music in the background, doing something. You realize, no, it's a maturity factor. It really is. But a lot of the kids, granted that they're not paying attention, they retain some of the information.
So that little kid that we thought wasn't paying attention could one day be the next Tyrone or the next The Rock.
It can be. That's up to
Yes,
him. That's what's motivation, what drive he has, and that's influenced him.
Right, right. You've also worked with some student that's gone on to do some bigger things. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, as a coach, at first you always, when you do the sport, you always think that it's about their titles and stuff like that. But then you realize, like my first experience was when I had one of my state champions come back in, and we were talking. I'm kind of engaging him with wrestling, but he was more talking about what's going on in his life. Then I started to realize that it's not about their titles at that moment. It's more about what they do. So they're coming like, hey coach, I just want to let you know I'm getting married, having my first kid, I'm buying my first car, I got my house. So you see that their success is not just necessarily on the mat; it's what they're doing in the future with it. So it's more about how to teach them how to believe in themselves. No.
So you become more than a coach for wrestling. You're a mentor, this figure that they can come to and depend on to talk to. So you're bigger than a coach when it comes to the lives that you've touched in wrestling.
Yeah, because when I first started wrestling, obviously the kids was close to my age, so I was more of their big brother. Then it transitioned over to being a father. And now, no, I want to say grandfather yet, but I've been out there long enough. So most of these kids that are in this age group are more like my sons now. However, we do have girls coming in. So if I have girls, I can say.
What is that like with having the girls in wrestling now?
Well, what's happening when it started? It started off slow because they had to still wrestle with guys, but now they're starting to form their own. I could say, area where they wrestle among themselves.
Oh, okay.
However, they can still wrestle a boy. That's if they want to, but
they're not being forced to do.
No, they're not being forced. Like if I have one of my girls, I'm like, you don't have a match today, but if you like to wrestle a guy, of course, I always let the parents know, mainly fathers, what's going to happen, because if wrestling is one of those sports where people look at their hands going to different places and they're like thinking that it's something out there, but
something inappropriate.
But actually, it's not.
Okay, so where can the wrestling fans see Tyrone in 5 years?
Well, 5 years, I don't know. Maybe in Florida on a boat fishing, wrestling a marlin, or a tarpon, something like that. That's more what I see right now. Because right now I just have probably 2 more years as a coach, and I'll probably much wrap it up from there.
Okay. Well, congratulations and thank you for all that you do in the community with
Thank
our
you.
youth. It's very much needed with all that's going on in our world now. We need more people spending time with our kids.
Yes.
So we thank you for that. So if someone wanted to reach you, how would they find Mr. Abercrombie?
Well, I mean, not hard to find. I mean, again, I'm head coach over at Shadow Mountain High School, which is located on Shea Boulevard up in Phoenix,
Oh.
Shea Street, my Boulevard.
Okay.
Shea, but I'm around. People Google me around. I'm there. It's not hard to find.
Not hard to find, huh?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was
Thank
such
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here today at Desertwood Days. We'll catch you next time.
Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze was sponsored by Movie Group. Visit them at dreamnetworkchannel.com.